So good evening to Thein Tun, who's in Yangon, and I, of course, am in Queensland at the moment. Now, Thein Tun is, or TT, as he's given me permission to call him, is one of our older interview subjects because I believe he was born on the 1st of May in 1931, right. Making you TT 91 in May. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, TT, can we start by you telling us about your childhood or your parents, your life as a small child?
Oh, it was very short because it was before the war time. I was born in Rangoon in 1931. So my parents actually, what shall I say, they were very young when they got married. My father is actually half Shan and half Mun. You know what is Shan?
Yes.
We have about 6 or 7 major ethnic groups, and my fathers belong to half. His father is Shan and his mother is Mun, Burma. Shan is also from the eastern part of Myanmar. So my father is half Shan and half Mun. And my mother is half Indian and half Mun.
Wow.
So I'm the mixture of four ethnic groups. So anyway, Burma before the wartime, that is before 1941, is actually a very poor country. So when we became part of, what shall I say, a colony, so everything in Yangon is run by British and Indian people. So we can all, for transportation is run by Indian. The whole of railway system is run by Indian. The whole of inland waterways is run by Bengali. And electricity supply is also from Indian. So even all the, they call it lancha, what shall I say, a carriage pulled by the man is also Indian. So we can speak a few of Hindustani at those days, because everybody is, everything is run by Indian. So my father actually worked for Burma Railways. The whole of railway staff, accounting, engineering is all Indian. We don't have Burmese engineers those days. So when the war broke out in 1941, I was only 10 years old. My first schooling was at the age of 6 at one of the Burmese schools for 1 year. Then somehow I couldn't attend Burmese school for 1 year. Then at the age of 8, my parents put me up in Methodist boys' school at 2nd standard. So I was there for a whole year, 2nd standard. Then 3rd standard also whole year. And 4th standard is 1941 when the war broke out. So the education system at that time was you finish school at 16, 10th standard, then you can join university. So when the war broke out in 1941 in Asia, it's 8 December, then Japanese started bombing Yangon on 23rd December 1941. Then on alternate day, they were bombing Yangon, 23rd, 25th, 27th, like that. So everything stopped, no schooling, and war broke out in 8 December. Then British started preparation for withdrawing without any resistance. So they started, those days before the wartime, Burma used to be OPEC, one of the oil exporting countries. So middle of Myanmar, Chao, Yananjiang, those were the oil refinery, or oil drilling place. And we have refinery, about 4 refinery at the mouth of Yangon River. So everything was burned down and destroyed. And all the whole, that 2,000 oil drilling hole were blocked by cement. And British sank all the Irrawaddy flotilla boats, all all the machinery. I mean, but Burma was not industrialized. So the main thing is we have timber, oil, and mineral. So we have three big companies here: Burma Oil Company, Irrawaddy Flotilla, that is transportation, Burma Railway, and also silver mining in Kaya State. That is the only thing in Myanmar.
TT, were you able to stay in Yangon when the bombing and the war came to Myanmar, to
when
Burma?
the bomb started, we all had to run away. So we ran away to Tunte, which is 50 miles away, a small town. So everybody ran away. We just left everything, Yangon. Everybody. Actually, those days there was no thieving, the quiet life. Everybody left their home without any security. We just ran away.
And how long did you stay away?
Oh, actually, it was not so long. The war broke out in December 8, and Japanese started coming into Myanmar in February. Then they occupied Yangon first week, May. So it was a very short time. So we had only two bridges, Sittong Bridge and Irrawaddy Bridge in Mandalay those days. And British, without resistance, they just withdraw everything by road and through Tamil to India. So when Japanese came into Myanmar in May, we all came back in June, July to our own house. So we were away for 7 months from Yangon.
And did life return to normal for you when you went back to Yangon?
No, it was, you see, out of the whole of Southeast Asia, including South Asia, Myanmar is the only country which suffered wartime shelling from Japanese. Then later on, 1943, British started bombing again, British and American bombing almost daily Yangon. So I think we suffer a lot, Burma. Because Malaysia, nothing happened, no bombing. Like Singapore, they just surrender. So in Southeast Asia, nobody suffered anything. But Burma is the only country where we suffer British bombing, English bombing first, and then all Japanese people came in. Then again in 1943, 44, 45, then British started bombing again. So there were no school at all. The only school we can attend is Japanese language school. So I attended Japanese language school in 1943 when they start open. 43, 44, 42 years. Then I was only about 12, 13 years old. So I can speak very good Japanese those days, and I became part-time interpreter, Japanese Burmese language at Kempetai. Kempetai is, you can call it, military intelligence service.
You're very young to do that.
Yeah, we were very young. Very young. So no other school except Japanese language school. So we didn't have any schooling at all for 4 years, 42, 43, 44, up to 45. So when Japanese surrender after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, so there was still many Japanese in East Myanmar. And some of them didn't even know that the war is over. So British, flew many leaflets into the jungle that the war is over and so on. So it took some time for them to realize that the war is over. Anyway, everything started again, school opening from 1st January 1946. So I attended school again, but the only school open was the National School in Burma. You know, Thein Tun, you interviewed him last time.
Yeah.
His father is a principal of the school.
Ah, yes, I remember him telling me that, yes.
He is a Ubaluen school.
So is that when you met Cho Twain?
Thein Tun I met much later.
Oh, okay.
Thein Tun was not in Yangon. He was in India all the time.
Right.
Yeah, he was attending Bombay Marine School, Dufferin.
That's right, because he's a few years older than you.
Yeah. He is about 4 years older.
So you went to that school for a few years until you finished high school?
I finished my high school within 1 year.
Wow.
From 46, I was 4th standard when the war broke out. Just studying in 4th standard. I didn't pass. There's no exam yet. Then when the school started, I joined. So happened that I joined 9th standard. I jumped from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So I joined 9th standard, and from there I appeared for matriculation. So within 1 year, I passed matriculation at the age before I was 16. So I joined university in 1947 March. Engineering. I took engineering.
Engineering, yeah.
Yes. I took actually mechanical engineering for 2 years. Then January 1949, I saw the invitation for scholarship from British government. You know, at the time, just before we got our independence in 1948, our defense minister is General Leah. And defense minister from England is Mr. Freeman. We call it Burma Defence Agreement. They call it Leah-Freeman Defence Agreement. So according to the agreement, the British offered to train us in Dartmouth for the Navy for 3 years and send us for Army for 6 years. Those days, there were no Air Force. So I applied for scholarship as engineer. Actually, there were vacancy for 2 engineering posts and 4 executive posts for Dartmouth. And somehow only due to age limit, I think, I was the only engineer cadet selected and 2 others executive. So only 3. They want to give 6 posts, but they could select only 3. So from 1949 April, I joined Royal Naval College in Dartmouth. They call it HMS Britannia.
That's very prestigious. It must have been a wonderful experience or a very interesting experience.
Yeah, for us it's entirely, what shall I say, the pure jungleman going to city. I mean, those days was nothing. We don't have anything at all. It's not industrialized, not polished, and we don't even have. I don't even have proper schooling, but somehow we have to join there. So wait.
Were you well treated there, TT? Did they treat you well?
Oh yes, I mean it was. Dartmouth is the only entry for the Royal Navy officers. There's no other entry, even executive, engineer, and supply. They were all together in Dartmouth. We must complete our cadet camp in Dartmouth. Actually, we call it Dartmouth. We were there for only a few months. Then they have a cadet traineeship. Then we go out for 4 months. We call it Mediterranean cruise. Attending school every day. The cadet traineeship, which is HMS Devonshire, which is 8-inch cruiser, quite large ships. Then second time we went to West Indies for 4 months, touching Trinidad, Grenada, Barbados, St. Vincent, things like that. The pay was very low. We were paid according to British people, exactly same. So our uniform, everything was standard supply. So actually, British naval training is unlike army those days. They were very, very, what shall I say, quite prestigious, you can say. Even as a cadet, we don't have to carry our own baggage.
Really?
Yeah,
I think there's an expression that that the Navy is the senior service. Isn't that true?
No, I think they're a bit, what shall I say, to be officer, they give you a certain standard. Huh?
Yeah.
You have to, but they like us, there are few Indian, few Pakistanis also joined together. So few of them like Indian, low class, but well educated, but they were just sent back because they said they don't have OLQ those days of the like quality. So just like that, so they prefer not real, whether you're brainy or not is not important, but your appearance, how you be a personal relation and things like that, it counts a lot. So in Dartmouth, they try to teach you everything to become a good officer. So the training is quite different. So after finishing Dartmouth, I joined Royal Naval Engineering College for Men in Plymouth, which is under Cambridge University.
Wow.
So I finished altogether exactly 4 years. Then I returned to Myanmar in 1953, April.
So do you come out with a degree? Is that you get a degree from?
They don't give degree, they give equivalent. So they said our standard, because it is all governed by the Cambridge University, under Cambridge. So they said equivalent to BSc honors.
Right.
Then I took one subject which is economic engineering, which I become a graduate A.M.I. Mackey, member of Institution of Mechanical Engineers. Do you know what is A.M.I. Mackey?
No, I don't.
Oh, I see. That is quite high status.
Prestigious.
Because they train us to become either, if you retire, chief engineer in the Marine Service, or you can become an engineer in the industrial. So Mackey, the A.M.I. Mackey, M.I. Mackey is in England is very prestigious.
So you returned as an officer and with this MMIT qualification?
No, not. So like British officers, by time scale. When you pass my cadetship, you become missionman. After 6 months, and then you were commissioned. Why you were still studying? You were commissioned at Training College. So I became sub-lieutenant. Then if you complete 5 years, then you become qualified for lieutenant. So when I came back after 4 years, I came back to Myanmar as sub-lieutenant from Royal Navy. Then I still had to do one more year service to complete my 5 years. Then I become lieutenant. Then another 8 years, complete 13 years, then you become lieutenant commander.
So how many people like you came back from Dartmouth? You must be one of the first that came back after independence.
Only three group, actually 6 engineers and 12 executive officer. So the interesting point is, when I came back from England, I didn't know that I was one of the pioneer mechanical engineer in Myanmar. We don't have any mechanical engineer in Myanmar.
Goodness.
We don't have, because Burma was not industrialized. We have railway system, all manned by Indian. We have Burma Oil Company, all the engineers are Scottish and English. Then we have inland waterways, Irrawaddy Flotilla. They have many ships, and all the engineers are Scottish. And masters are also English people, Scottish. So those days we don't have any rewarded mechanical engineer. The engineer we are producing in our university is only civil engineer. There's no mechanical or electrical. So I didn't know that I was one of the very few pioneer marine engineers. So just for your interest, when Burma Navy got the first frigate from Royal Navy as our flagship, the corvette type, we have many commanding officer, tech people. We don't have any engineer. So English, those days, borrow one Indian Royal Naval Reserve man, our Burmese Navy frigate. There's no engineer at all those days. So that was one of the interesting points. Like me at the moment at 91, I'm the most senior mechanical engineer in Myanmar.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. So when
you must have been in high demand.
Yeah. Before COVID time, we have an annual sort of paying respect by marine engineers and mechanical, and I was the oldest one. Even in the Navy now, I'm the only engineer over 90.
Wow.
The oldest.
The most senior.
So when I came back to England, so my first job was, we need so many engineers. So what I had to do was, I became technical training officer to train all the senior other rank. Like chief petty officer, chief engineering artificer, and those are still under 40 years old and with 15 years service, and they have in high schools. I had to train them.
So TT, you are much younger than the people you're training.
Very much younger, very much younger. I was a young chap. And for your interest, also few of our cadet and fishermen people who attended Royal Engineering College, Royal Naval Engineering College were sent back because they were not up to standard. Also, they are already fishermen, so I had to train them here also.
In Asian culture, it's quite difficult, isn't it, being a young person trying to discipline or train an older person?
Yes. So, if everything in the Navy wants, so they always ask me. So, when we are Navy with torpedoes, underwater weapons, and those days we have to send all the torpedoes to Singapore Royal Navy base for maintenance every 2 years. So if you fire for practice also, then you have to send it to Singapore. So what they did was they asked me to train for 1 year in Pula. Pula is Yugoslavia. And it was an ex-Italian Navy school. So I attended 1 year for torpedo and underwater weapon to become a specialist. Then I built up torpedo and underwater weapon. We have many mines. Of course, Navy got mines to maintain that and to repair whenever the torpedo was fired for practice. Every 2 years maintained. So I did the job. So, what shall I say? And Burma was not developed at the time. When we were under British from say 65 years before the wartime. So we don't have any seagoing ship repair facility. No dry dock, no slipways, only riverine ships we can do. So the seagoing ship we got corvette and ocean-going minesweeper. Those are all sent for annual docking and repair to Singapore and Hong Kong with all the crew of 150 people. So it's quite expensive and a long time away from home. So the government asked me to build a shipyard to repair those seagoing ships in Myanmar for like we call it for Burmese major war vessel.
What year are we talking now, TT? What year are we talking roughly?
Talking about 1944. When I came back in 1953, so up to 1958, I was doing that 57, I was doing that job for training people and repairing all the small ships, things like that. Then in 1958 to 1959, there was, they call it government change for 1.5 years. General Lwin took over the government for 1.5 years at the request of Prime Minister Unu at the time. Because for you to know, in 1948, when we got independence, there's in the Constitution, there's a stipulation that after 10 years, all the ethnic people like Shan, Chen, Kachin, if they don't like, they can ask for their own, they can become independent. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, but unfortunately Aung San got assassinated, right? And so when Ne Win came in, he certainly didn't agree with that.
Yeah. So Unu asked General Ne Win to take over for 1.5 years. So at that time also, I was attached to Prime Minister's office, second man. Then I worked under Prime Minister for 1.5 years.
As what, as a naval attaché or something like that, or?
No. I was in Upper Burma as well, to look after all the, marine, mechanical and marine engineering side from Mandalay. So I was there for 1 year, 1.5 years.
So you left the Navy?
Still Navy, as a Navy uniform.
Right.
Because it was under General Lwin, government. Prime Minister was General Lwin at that time. I was seconded to his office.
Okay.
And my duty was in Upper Burma at the time. So those say there's only one General Lwin. We don't have no other general. The rest are all brigadier. So after 1960, when General Lwin pulled general election and gave the power back to who won again. So I came back to the Navy again. So in 1961, I was assigned to ships, chief engineer in Mayu, and so 3-4 ships for 4-5 years as chief engineer on board. Then when I became a torpedo depot specialist, torpedo repair officer. Then government asked me to build a shipyard for the larger Navy ships, which is under 2,000 tons. All the ships are under 2,000 tons those days. So I built a dockyard, shipyard in Rangoon. They call it Semalai for 6 years. After 4 years, we can start docking and repairing our Navy ships. At the same time...
Was that located across from the Strand Hotel, or where was the shipyard, dockyard?
No. Shipyard is in Kamayo Township. The one you said is Tala. Tala shipyard is the old one. It's only for riverine.
Right.
The one I built is for the seagoing ships.
Okay.
So Navy ships, which are about 15 or 16 feet draft, with about 300, 400 feet long. So seagoing. So I also have, when I build the shipyard, I have 3 phases. Phase 1 is present one I was building, and also I drew up phase 2 and phase 3 for larger ships like big dry dock and so on. Anyway, at the same time, while I was building the shipyard, I sent so many people, I asked a few 10 countries to give me a scholarship post for naval architect, ship constructor, so on. So I got 2 posts from Russia, Germany, Netherlands, Japan, Yugoslavia. So I sent so many people for naval architect course and shipbuilding course.
TT, I was just working out, you're still very young then. You're 30 years old doing all of this.
Yeah, very young. In fact, when I asked my government that I want to see so many other shipyards to study, and I was a team leader, which is I was only about 33, 34 years old, and all the other chief engineers are much older, but they are not mechanical. So I was always a leader of the group. And I study, and it was up to me what to do those days, because it became a socialist time. Because 1962, General Nevin took over the whole country, and we started socialism in 1964. So we cannot give contract to any other people. So everything you have to build on your own. So I requested Army kerosene engineer to place under me. So they gave me one unit of kerosene engineer, which are civil engineers group. And I got assistance from also education department. They have so many treasure equipment. And in my group, also from Rangoon University, rector, like also housing ministry chief engineer. They're all civil engineer. Some are Indians. They became a member in my construction group. So I was the youngest at that time. So government allowed me to do what I like to do. So I sent so many scholarships to Russia, 2 or 3 to East Germany, Netherlands, Japan. Because naval architecture takes a long time for them to get their master degree. So most of them come back with Russian girl, Japanese girl, German girl, like that, Yugoslav girl. So the shipyard became so popular and so nice, so big. Then General Nevin decided that your shipyard is too big for the Navy. So why do you must hand over to civil department? So in 1970, I handed over the whole department to Transport and Communication Ministry, and I was asked to stay on as managing director. So I told them I'm only 38 years old. I cannot be. I'm head of civil department, so young. So I still want to serve in the Navy. So I came back to the Navy in 1970.
Oh, you went back to the Navy?
Navy, yeah. I was why I was building also, it was a naval unit.
Right.
As commanding. It was a military project, Navy project.
Right. So but they wanted you to leave, but you preferred to go back to the Navy.
Yeah. They asked me to carry on as civilian and head of department for the shipyard.
Yep.
So I requested to go back to. I refused to join the civil service. So I went back to the Navy in 1970. Anyway, during that time in 1958, I had to go back. My wife joined the Navy as one of the first women naval officer. One of the 6. So they started recruiting women naval officer in the Navy. So she is one of the first group. And she was sent to America, USS Bainbridge in Maryland, to attend a course, women of the course, for 2 months. Then we met in the Navy, and we got married in 1963.
So her name is Mia A. Is that right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, commonly called Polly.
Polly, yes.
Yeah.
She is also half Chinese and half Burmese.
Right.
Father is Chinese and mother is purely Burmese. Anyway, when we met, we were across the river. I was in an armament depot. She was at training school as one of the staff. Anyway, we got married in 63 and 64. I was assigned to build a shipyard in 1964, and up to 1970, I was building shipyard in the Navy. So I was in the Navy, working in the Navy again from 1970 to 1980. Then there were many things happened during that time. The whole shipyard operation was actually a defense project, one of the biggest projects those days in socialist period. Because socialism in Burma starts in 1963 to 64 till 1988. That is a socialist period.
Yep.
In socialist period, no private contractors allowed. There were no private shops, things like that. Everything was nationalized. I went back to the Navy. First, they assigned me to one of the seagoing ship, which cannot go. So I repaired it. They asked me to repair it, and I repaired it. Then, after 3-4 months of running again, and we went. I was there for about 1 year again. Then they assigned me as one of the commanding officer for another naval unit. Then I was promoted to commander in 1976, 77 as commander for shipbuilding. So I started contacting like Denmark, Norway, things like that. So I got T Lwin to build few ships, like fishery protection vessel, Navy ship, but it is for fishery protection. So we built so many ships at that time with loan agreement from Denmark. Denmark gave us loan for 40 years. So for 10 years, you don't have to give any interest. You pay only about 0.5% service charge. After 10 years, they gave away the rest of the money. No need to give. So with T Lwin, I built 3 ships with helicopter, hangar, and so on. So, but during that 10 years, 1970 to 1980, there were many problems at the shipyard which I built. Labor problem, insubordination, many other things. So I was asked to go back as managing director to manage the shipyard.
Still in uniform.
Still in uniform. So those days you are allowed to stay up to 3 years in uniform. So I went back. I had to go back to the shipyard as managing director in uniform. So I stayed there as uniform up to 83, 84. So during that time, the head of state asked me to come over to his office. So I went over there he asked me by name. So I went there, and when I went there, there were all the Army, Navy, Air Force heads were there. The cabinet, I mean, the main Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, Foreign Minister, they were there.
Wow.
So, so he just asked me one question, Thein Tun said, well, I knew him also in outside. I mean, I played golf with him also 2 or 3 times. So when I was in Mayu, Navy flagship, he used to come over. We had to take him for touring down south. So there were no other people to play bridge. So I was one of them. Play bridge with the Supreme Commander, Navy Chief, and Air Force Brigadier Cliff Chief, and myself. A small young lieutenant playing bridge with 3 forces. So from that time, they know me. And when I was building the shipyard also, when we talked our flagship, so he came over to see how the things are done, and so that he remember me very well. Then Defence Golf Club also, at that time, the Chief of Staff, Army, asked me to manage the whole golf class. So whenever General Naval comes over, we used to play. I had to play with him for 3 or 4 times. We were quite familiar. So his first question to me was, what is your vision for Semilai-Dogya?
Right.
So very simple for me, because I was prepared. It was my original, when I start building the Semilai shipyards, I have phase 1, and I do have phase 2, phase 3. Phase 2 to upgrade the present shipyard, and phase 3 to build a big dry dock like in Korea. So I explained to them phase 2 in detail. Phase 3 is why I want to build phase 3, because in Myanmar we don't have any dry dock. You know what is dry dock?
Yes, I do.
So to repair and to build ships. So I just explained to them how Daewoo, Hyundai, and Samsung, how they became from shipbuilding. Then when you start building ships, there's always a supporting industry comes with the shipbuilding. That is normal, because you need supply. What should I say? Supporting industries like woodworking, plating, piping, electrification, motors, engines, like that. So all other supporting industry also develop if you start building ships. So that's how we started telling him. So all of them understood my vision and my requirement. So as soon as my explanation was complete, so he asked Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, who is also Finance Minister, asked them to find financing for me. Financing means loan agreement with other country to get, my vision, my project to develop. So as soon as we finish our meeting for the day, with lunch provided by him and so on. Anyway, when I get back to my office, I start inquiring the head of state office whether they have the recording. Yes, they have. So they gave me the recording, and I took out all the brief statement, what General Neville said to me, and I put up to cabinet to find financing for me. So after 3-4 months, they got financing from ADB, that is Asian Development Bank, and also from Japanese OECF loan. OECF means Overseas Economic Cooperation Fund, OECF, the Japanese loan. So we got agreement. I had to put up preliminary feasibility, what shall I say? Studies. And so according to that studies, they also had to agree with their own board, and both of them agreed to finance my project. So I started also taking over so many land area in T Lwin area. Now this present time, that T Lwin is big development now. I was talking about 83, 84. Now, 2022, there are many industries constructed by the Japanese and many other nations, and it became a T Lwin industrial project now. So those days there was nothing. It was just a plain rice field, but they cannot produce good rice because also seawater also come into the field at the time. So anyway, we started that project on paper, that is on my feasibility studies, and started designing stage and so on. It takes about 3-4 years to develop. So for T Lwin dry dock project, the progress was very quick. So the Japanese team came over, which is also a very close relation with me, that is OSC, that is Overseas Shipbuilding Cooperation Center in Yokohama. They took over the project for designing with loan from the Japanese OECF loan. They agreed first. So we got the initial loan for designing of the big shipyards to cater for up to 20,000 ton ships, which can enter into Rangoon River. So we started designing, and many other projects like soil tests and things like that, initial designing, we started doing that. So that was my phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So phase 2 project engineer was sent by ADB, the Asian Development Bank. So happened that he is a Ceylonese, but Indian Ceylonese. In 1984-85, the problem starts in Ceylon with
the Tamil Tigers
and those Indian settlers.
Yeah.
So he had to abandon his job given by the Asian Development Bank, and he had to go back. That second phase development was delayed due to that, but that phase was in progress very well. Anyway, that was as far as the school. When we finished designing, when we want to start to build, and it became 1988, when General Solomon and General Tan Shui took over the whole country. So my project was also stopped because all the loan also funding was stopped due to that change of government.
This is the end of my first interview with Thein Tun, and the second interview commences with what happened after 1988.